Hey, I'm Nick Von Brack, and this is the Record Podcast. Good morning to all you suckers out there who are up bright and early just like me. Hope you all have a good day, good Wednesday today. We're going to start this one off with the winner of the record contest. So, last week's episode talked about doing a record giveaway from my own collection, which could be any sort of recent album or random goofy dollar buy I got from a thrift store. So to get that, you just posted on Facebook or Twitter about the podcast, and I'd pick a winner. So the winner of that is Will Dannon, who on Twitter is @WillDannon. So congrats to you, fine sir. I will be getting in touch with you to send you out a pleasant little surprise. And in other fun, random, goofy news, PayPal. So in listening to other podcasts and just being a fan of shows and hearing about how they even make any sort of revenue or money or things like that, I looked into it myself and saw that you can set up your own PayPal link. And I was going back and forth about doing that because for a while I was like, screw it, I'll just pay out of pocket and, make it all happen myself. And then I started to think about getting another microphone so that I could do some in-person interviews. And microphones are not cheap, and, having a kid is not cheap. So having your money all tied up in family stuff, I was like, well, I don't want to wait another, however many months to buy one. Let's just set up a PayPal link and see how that works. So I did that after last week's episode, so there's no big announcement about it aside from on Twitter, but here's the info about it. So if you go to paypal.me/Nick Von Brack, paypal.me/my name, NickVomBrack, you can donate any amount of money you feel necessary to do so, and the money that I'm getting will be going towards a new microphone so I can set up some in-person interviews. All the interviews I've done so far have been over Skype, and it's been really great for a lot of reasons, but I want to get into doing some in-person interviews as well. So the way we'll do it is if you donate, I will shout out your name and promote anything you want promoted. So even in the small time frame without any sort of giant announcement about it, I've already gotten some donators, and here are their names. Jeremy Huron @JTrain039, one of the OG record podcast fans. Thanks to you for your donations. Andrew Scholes, who's @Andrew Scholes on Twitter. Thank you, sir. Corey Block @CoreyJBlock gave a huge donation, and I hate him for it. He is a good friend of mine, and it is weird taking money from your friends, but it's also probably a jerk move to be a jerk about it. So thank you, Corey. I appreciate it, buddy. Ricky Amato, who is @KillaWhale on Twitter, and he wanted me to promote his band, which is Killa Whale, and you should go check them out. They're on SoundCloud. Okay, so cool. So record contest, Will Dannon, congrats to you. PayPal donations. Again, the podcast is free, so I'm not trying to pocket any change off of this until there's a time and place to do that, hopefully in the future. And in the meantime, any donations will go towards updating gear or just paying for, advertising or things that are website related. So thanks to any of you who are considering doing it or who do it. And if you don't, that's cool too. But appreciate you, all you listening and checking this thing out and sharing it all over the interwebs. All right, this week's guest is my buddy Zach Guerin, who is the former guitarist of Dance Gavin Dance and the current guitarist of Strawberry Girls. He is one of a few guests who I've tried many, many times to get on the show, and due to our own schedules, it took a long time. So it was awesome to finally get him on. We talked about a lot. We talked about his music history, joining Dance Gavin Dance, going from being a merch guy to being in the band, exiting the band, starting his own solo work and creating Strawberry Girls. We talked about how our paths crossed, being in a band that's got band drama, how to deal with that, being in an instrumental band, what comes with that, all the kind of stuff that you deal with doing that, and a ton more. We got into some hip hop. He's just a big music fan, so it was good to pick his brain and just catch up with him. He's a funny dude, so follow him on all the interweb ways. Zach Garin, Z-A-C Garin, but I'm sure if you're listening to this, you're probably familiar with him. So yeah, let's just get to it. Here's my interview with Zach Garin.
Hey,
are we doing? I can hear you crystal clear.
How's the levels?
Good, man. I think the little bit of software I have kind of EQs everything, so it's
cool.
It's all good, man.
Sweet.
Wow. Good. We doing this for real this time?
I don't know. I could still be sleeping. Not sure yet.
That's true. And I appreciate you giving up some precious sleep hours for me. As a prelude to this whole thing, I think I need to explain that you and I have tried to do this interview about 37 times.
Yeah, that's not really an exaggeration. Probably
and I'd say probably 26 of them to 34 of them have been my fault. So I'll take a big brunt of that.
I canceled a few of them. I was like, oh, wait, I have to do this. Sorry. All right. Yeah.
I'm glad we're doing it now. How was your sleep, by the way? More importantly.
It was pretty good. I'm trying to think if I had any cool dreams. I think I might have had a dream, but I don't remember what it was.
You don't have a dream journal that you can reference?
No.
That's too bad. They could have made for a good 10 to 15 minutes of this podcast. Now I got nothing.
I'll for next time I'll start keeping one.
When we do the next one in 4 to 6 years. So what's on the agenda for your day today? You just chilling? What do you got going on?
Today, yeah, this is my day right here.
Nice.
But yeah, nothing today. Let's see, just gonna get a haircut, do some laundry, and then got a slightly busy weekend. So.
Oh, what's cooking? You got some band-related doings?
Yeah. Let's see. So tomorrow I'm doing this they're doing like an emo night kind of thing, kind of near me.
Okay.
Where me and then this dude Dan, who was the singer guitarist of that band, the Static Lullaby. Coming down, and we're gonna do a little like emo night DJ thing for our friend's birthday. He's turning 30, and he wanted to throw this, so he's like a promoter around the area. So
nice.
We're gonna do that. Play some junior high school jams. It's gonna be good.
Was that something that already goes on, and someone contacted you, or you two schemed that up?
So our friend whose birthday it is. I think he already knows Dan from Static, and Dan was doing, or he is doing, an emo night somewhere down in SoCal where he lives. Forget exactly where, because there's a lot of them going on now.
Yeah.
But so our friend Joel, whose birthday it is, he wanted to bring Dan down to do this emo night for his birthday, and he was looking for another person to kind of open up the set and do like 25 songs or something, so that it wasn't just Dan.
Yeah.
And then he wanted to try to find like a local person who does music also to kind of open it up. So
Nice.
Originally he was hitting up a friend of mine, and while he was hitting up a friend of mine, I was also interjecting about how he should be hitting up me instead.
Just swooped right in there.
Because playlists are a very prominent part of my my existence. I make a lot of playlists,
Yeah,
so I'm like, dude, I'll
I'm
I'll take
ready.
this very seriously.
Yeah,
But yeah, we'll see how that goes. That should be interesting. It's my DJ debut,
nice.
so.
So do you need to have DJ software, or are you just like cooking it all up in iTunes, or how does it work?
So I guess Dan, who already does them, he has some kind of software that I guess hooks up to Spotify or something. I'm not really sure
Oh,
what it
okay.
is, but he said he'll show me tomorrow. So I'm going to just wing it and see what happens.
Nice.
I already got my thing planned out, got track order and everything. I got
Nice.
certain stuff arranged by like the key of the song and stuff. I went pretty hardcore,
Nice.
so
That's
it'll
cool,
be good.
man. That sounds fun. And you said there's other stuff going on?
Yes. So then the next day, Sunday night, we're doing a birthday show for a different friend of ours, and that's yesterday was our first practice since tour, and it's been like 5.5 weeks. So
Oh,
we're
nice.
going into it with one practice.
Hmm.
Luckily, towards the end of practice, it started to sound good.
Yeah.
At first, it was like, "Damn, we're pretty rusty." It's been a while, but yeah, we ran through it a few times and got it pretty ready. So yeah,
Nice.
Sunday night we're gonna be doing our first show since tour, so that'll be fun.
Good deal. So when I came out and saw you on the Chan tour, and that was something else, man. Packed room, every
Oh,
show
sweet.
sold out. Like how? So I caught you. Was that in the middle of the tour, or was that close to the end?
I think that was actually towards the beginning.
Oh,
I think
really?
that was in, like at least the first like third of the tour.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that was in like the first week or so, maybe week and a half into the tour, and the tour was about 5 weeks. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was kind of towards the beginning actually. But that was definitely one of the bigger shows. You definitely lucked out, and it made us
Nice.
look a lot cooler. Like if you had come out to the last show, that one was a very small little place.
Gotcha. Well, still though, that was a pretty stacked tour. It seemed right up your guys' alley. Fit. It was a nice. We talked about it a little bit, but it was a nice like variety of. Yeah, they're all instrumental bands, but they're all different variations of that stuff. So it was
Yeah,
not like you're hearing the same thing three times.
yeah, definitely. That was cool because we've been fans of Tron and Polyphia for a while, so we never really thought we would play with them.
Yeah.
So it was cool to actually get the chance to tour with them.
And since that tour, have you gotten any offers for tours that you can talk about or that are coming up, or is it all kind of open right now?
So far, no, we haven't really gotten anything, but we're also kind of just trying to chill, record, and write because we've been
Oh,
kind of
okay.
busy touring for the last like 6 months or so.
Sure.
So trying to take it a little easy.
Yeah.
It's because we've in the middle of like doing like I would say in the last 6 months we've toured for about 3 of those months, and then on top of that we were also recording our new album in between any of those dates. So
Oh,
for the
wow.
last like 6 months we've been super busy with the band. So we're kind of just taking a little break. But hopefully like this next month we'll kind of kick things into gear and start writing, and then hopefully record. And we just want to try to because we have our own recording studio, so we want to really try to focus on doing like a really cool recording because the last one
Yeah.
we got like a little rushed because we got the Dance Gavin Dance tour, which we're like, all right, that's going to be like the biggest thing for us. It's going to be the most people we've ever played to, so we should probably try to get our album out by then. So we rushed it. We literally turned our album in a week and a half before tour, and our record label somehow managed to get us physical copies
Wow.
a week and a half later for the first day of tour. So that was
Yeah,
super crazy.
yeah, that's pretty good.
But you also have to like sacrifice some of the extra time we would have spent just doing weird little, studio things,
Yeah.
kind of just like weird little effects and editing and production stuff. I want to really take to the next level because we're all kind of producers, so we want to really mess with that art side of things.
Yeah, before that show it came out, I listened to the new album, and I remember talking a little bit, and I was so surprised when you said that you guys recorded it because I was like, "Wow, that album sounded really good production." You're like, "Yeah, we did it." It's like, what?
Yeah,
Damn! Like I was blown away. It sounded really good, man.
sweet, thank you. Yeah, that was mostly our drummer. It's kind of his studio, but me and also our bassist, we also do recording kind of stuff. Like our bassist went to recording school, and then our drummer he interned at like some studios in LA. So, and then I just kind of do it myself. So
Yeah,
we all kind of have that like mindset of production and audio stuff. So it's cool to kind of all be on the same page and be able to throw out ideas and stuff like that.
yeah. So now I know we've touched a little bit on Strawberry Girls right now, but I want to go back to your roots, the beginning of you starting to play music and whatnot. Where's that all begin for you?
Um, so I let's see. I took piano lessons when I was young, probably
Okay.
like I don't know how old I was, maybe 8. I would say probably around 8 because I got my first guitar when I was 12 and I'd been playing piano before that. So, yeah, probably somewhere around 8 I was taking piano lessons. Wasn't really into it just because I was playing stuff I didn't want to play, and then it
Yeah.
was just like I already didn't like school and this was more school. Even though it
Yeah.
was yeah, even though it was music, it was still like
Sure.
work because it was music I didn't like. So
Yeah.
it just wasn't that fun to me, and I didn't like learning to read music, so I never really learned to do that. I would just kind of play by ear. So
So
yeah, it was just,
to this day, can you read music?
no, no,
Yeah,
no,
me
no.
neither, man.
And I even took classical guitar lessons when I was maybe like 16 to 18, somewhere around there. And like the first thing you're supposed to do with classical guitar lessons is learn to read music. Like the teacher's 8-year-old students and stuff were learning to read music, and I was like, I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah.
Mainly because like I wasn't trying to be a jerk, but I knew that reading music wasn't really gonna have any part of what I wanted to do with music. So
Yeah.
literally, I would just if I spent a bunch of time learning to read music, I wouldn't use it in a couple years, and I would forget it. So it would have been
Yeah.
like worthless. I'd rather learn the techniques and stuff like that. Something that I'm actually going to put to use rather
Sure.
than, it's like learning a language and then if you don't speak it, you're just going to forget it.
Right. That's a good point.
So yeah, I did that. So piano around 8, did that for like a year or two. Then got my first guitar when I was 12. And then at that point, I could actually kind of like play stuff I wanted to play. So it was exciting. So I would just like learn these little simple things. And I think the first song I learned was the intro riff to Secret Agent Man. I forget
Nice.
that song.
I know what you're talking
But,
about. Like from
yeah,
Ace Ventura.
yeah, yeah, that song's sick. It's a cool, very simple intro.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, sweet, I can actually play something. And then
Yeah.
just kept kind of learning little things from there, stuff I wanted to play. So I would just be constantly playing because I enjoyed it. And yeah, just kind of took it from there. Just kept playing.
And do you
Yeah.
remember? Did you play in bands in high school, or when did bands come in the picture for you?
Yeah. So I started playing like with other people when I was probably like 13 or so, 13, 14. So like with drummer, bassist, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But nothing like very serious. And then in high school, probably when I was like 16 or something, I started like a real band where we actually like practiced and played shows and stuff like that. So
What was that
uh,
band called?
it's called Astoria.
Okay.
There's probably like 50 bands with that name. But yeah, it was like melodic hardcore kind of stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, it wasn't terrible. It could have been a lot worse for
Yeah.
some of the stuff going on at the time.
And what comes after that? You do that for a little while.
See, yeah, I did that till I was probably like 17, and then that band kind of broke up because I think everyone in the band was like a year older than me. So a lot of them had graduated when I was 17 because they were 18, so they were seniors, and then they graduated and kind of like went away to college and stuff. So we had lost like our drummer, bassist, and then our guitarist was really good friends with them. So he was like, well, if they're not in the band, I don't want to do the band anymore. So it was kind of like that kind of a thing, kind of falling out
Yeah.
this college. And then, let's see, probably sometime within that year, um, I was already friends with the guitarist from Dance Gavin Dance. Well, there's two of them, but I was friends with this dude Sean. I just knew him from like an internet music message board thing,
Yeah.
and they were still pretty small at the time. I mean, they were like a bigger local-ish band. Kind of, they had like done. Well, actually, at the time, they hadn't even done a tour when I knew Sean. Um, I don't even know if they were probably like talking about getting signed, or they had just gotten signed around that time.
Yeah.
But this was like back in the MySpace days.
Sure.
So I had like I think I had some of my friends had told me about the band because they had found the band on MySpace when they were pretty small, and then because they were from like a few hours away, so they were kind of local.
Okay.
And then I think Sean had like on the message board we posted on, I put like the link to his band in like his little online signature thing
Yeah.
or whatever. So I saw that. I was like, oh, you're in this band? Like some of my friends listen to this band, and we just kind of like talked and exchanged music. He even actually came down and played bass for the band I was talking about, Astoria, on one of our last shows
Oh, nice.
because we didn't have a bassist, and we were kind of just going through. We were trying to like still keep the band going with just me and the singer, and we would try to find like friends around town to kind of replace the people, but it never really worked out too much. But yeah, one of those last shows we did, Sean came down and filled in on bass for fun and hung out and stuff, and that was cool. And then
Nice.
Dance Gavin Dance was going on their like second tour, and I had kind of like asked Sean if I could maybe go out and just do merch to get some touring experience because I wanted to do music and wanted to kind of learn how things go, and then everything kind of happened from there.
Nice. So that's you graduated high school and then got into the band, or was that still?
So actually, let's see. I would say around. So if you're supposed to graduate around like May or June,
Yeah.
I dropped out and got my GED around like February, March. I think probably right around March. I got my GED, and then I was on the road with them. Like let's see, March, April, May, probably. I think maybe April. I don't know. It was whenever. It was pretty much when their first album came out. Like I think they did like their CD release show, and that was like the tour kickoff.
Okay.
So, let's see. I'm gonna Google it really quick and find out when that album came out. It came out May 15th. So I guess that was probably like the first day. So I think technically before I would have graduated, I was already on the road, which
Okay.
it was cool. But
And you started as a merch guy, you said.
yes, yeah.
So how'd you work your way into playing with them?
So I did maybe let's see, we probably did like 3 tours, and then Sean just wasn't into it anymore. Lots of I want to say band drama, but
Yeah.
there was there's been a lot of member changes. So yeah, he basically just had like a falling out with one member. He just couldn't do it anymore, and ended up flying home that one night, and then I had to take over the next day. But already at that point, he had talked to me about leaving the band after the tour, so it was already kind of a thing where he was
Okay.
like, "Hey, would you be down to take over if I don't want to do this anymore?" Because I think he had like a pretty good job back home too in like the medical field.
Okay.
I forget exactly what he was doing, but yeah, so he already had like something back at home that he could do, and he was I don't know, I think he was kind of like psyching himself out and with the whole music thing, and also
Yeah.
he just wasn't getting along with some of the people, so
Okay.
it was kind of like a surprise too because it was supposed to be at the end of the tour, so I only knew he was kind of slowly teaching me stuff, but I only knew like 2 songs maybe.
Oh man.
So it's like, all right, I'm flying home tonight or tomorrow. Can you play tomorrow? The next night. This was at like midnight. This is at the end of the
Ouch.
show. So, okay, so in about like less than 24 hours, I'm gonna have to play a show.
Yeah.
This band that I'm not in. So I learned like 2 more songs. We played like a 4-song set for a few days, and then slowly started learning more stuff. But at the time, we were on tour with Pierce the Veil, like a Skylit Drive, and then a few other bands. This is back like when Pierce the Veil was small. Now they're like freaking the
Right.
biggest, one of the biggest bands in the scene right now, which is interesting. It's cool.
Yeah, that's crazy to me. I guess like a band like that just kind of shows me how little I know about music because I'm like, oh yeah, Pierce the Veil on Warped Tour, and then it's like they just came out with an album and they're like number 4 on the chart. I'm like, holy shit, I know nothing. Like I
Yeah.
don't know anything about that scene.
They definitely like worked at it for years. I remember because they were like I really liked their first album.
Yeah,
They had this cool vibe to it, kind of like a little like Latin, almost slightly Mars Volta influenced kind of stuff, but with a
okay,
lot of like poppy stuff. So for they were kind of like a weird band for that scene when they started out, and they like a lot of the people behind the scenes loved that band, and they were always like giving them opportunities and stuff. But I mean, they'd worked for it for years. They Vic and Mike, the two brothers, the singer and the drummer,
yeah,
they had already had a band for years on Equal Vision, called I think Before Today. They were kind of a little punkier,
yeah.
but so they'd already been touring and stuff for years, working at it. Um, and yeah, so when they did Pierce the Veil, I think their album leaked like a year before it released, which is crazy.
Yeah, that's
I
insane.
remember that being like a big thing at the time. Like, yeah, our album's been out for about a year, like
Jesus.
online. And then yeah, that finally released, and it never really took off for a while. I think it took until like their second album, which was like years later, um, for people to actually kind of get it. But yeah, it was crazy how long, like we thought they were just going to be one of those bands that was like a band's band. We're like, oh yeah, all the bands love you guys, but like the kids aren't really getting it because
Yeah,
at the time it was kind of more of like a people. The kids were into like the kind of hardcore, that scene kind of stuff, and they were
yeah.
kind of more doing like poppier, kind of weirder stuff. So no one, the younger people didn't really get it at the time, and then slowly they started catching on. And it was cool to see them go from a band you didn't know was ever gonna like take off, and now they're just freaking huge. So
Yeah.
it's cool to see.
And so you were like 18 when you
Yeah.
started touring with them. Like,
Yeah.
do you, like thinking about that? Because when we were touring, I was one of the older guys in the band. So I think Andrew was probably like 18 when we started touring. But like, do you remember like touring now versus touring when you're 18? Like how, I mean, obviously it was a different time completely and a
Yeah.
different band. But like, do you remember anything about that or like anything that was weird or funny about that being that young?
It was definitely, I think, a lot easier to do it just
Yeah.
because like you're younger, you're 18, you're like, all right, I don't have anything to do, and I'm not even thinking about life right now.
Yeah.
So it was just like exciting and fun and new. We were on the road like a lot, like back to back tours. Whereas now it's like, dude, we need a break. Like 5 weeks, where we'd be doing like 6, 7, maybe 2 month long tours. I was gonna
Yeah.
say 6, 7 weeks, but then like up to like 2 month tours, and then hop on another tour, just constant touring like the whole year. Like I would say, like maybe out of the year, we would spend like 7 months of that on the road, seven,
Wow.
8 months, which is like a lot of time. So we were just constantly on the road during those times. And if we weren't on the road, we were at home writing an album and then that kind of a thing. So it was just constant for like 3 years. But it was definitely easier just because you're younger and
Sure.
you're not like thinking about, all right, what am I doing with my life? You're, yeah, I don't know. It was just definitely a lot easier to
Yeah.
do.
And during that time, is the band kind of gradually getting bigger, or did something like happen, like boom, all of a sudden you notice like one tour just got huge?
No, it was definitely really gradual.
Yeah.
Because yeah, we were just constantly doing these tours, so nothing was ever like, oh damn, like that was a big jump. It was all just kind of like very gradual.
Yeah.
We would do like a small tour, and they'd be like, oh, this band like is considering you guys. We're like, whoa, like that's crazy. This band's even bigger.
Yeah.
So it was just kind of like a slow like getting bigger, and then going from opening to like direct support kind of a thing. But let's see. I'm trying to think of what like the biggest stuff we did. We did a tour with Census Fail. That was pretty big.
Calling all cause we got another victim. Cause my love has become an affliction. What did you expect from me? What did you expect from me? I'm sorry, but I think I failed to mention that I lied at my very first confession. What did you
But then, like we had some of our own tours that were big. We would do like a co-headliner with either like a Skylit Drive or Emarosa, stuff like that. That was kind of similar fan wise. So those tours did really well too. But yeah, probably like I don't know, probably Census Fail was like our biggest, and Silverstein. We did a Silverstein tour. Those were kind of like because back. I mean, we were still like well, some people were maybe like 21 ish, but
Yeah.
I mean, the band was like 19 to 22 maybe. So we kind of like when we were younger, we had like listened to those bands growing up. So it was
Right.
weird to be like, oh, now you're going on tour with them.
Yeah.
That was kind of cool. But yeah, it was definitely a very gradual thing. It was never like a whoa, like this happened overnight.
Yeah.
Definitely, just a lot of touring, just constant touring.
Do you remember what the Census Fail fans thought of you guys? Like,
Um,
I feel like we
yeah.
played some shows opening for them in Newfound Glory, and their fans just kind of looked at us like, "Get the fuck out of here."
yeah, not really. We didn't
Yeah.
because like we never really had to like interact
Yeah.
with them. Like there was never really an opportunity to know what they thought, I guess.
But I mean, you could tell from the crowds like how they were reacting or being like, you
Yeah,
know,
true. They were
supportive
they were definitely supportive, I think.
Okay.
Because at the time we were already kind of like not big, but like known. We were kind of like a
Yeah,
buzzing in that scene, so
sure.
a lot of people already kind of knew us. So I think they were stoked. Like, yeah, it was probably like well received.
Were you main support for that tour?
So for the Silverstein tour, we were the opener, I believe. So like it was I don't know how long the tour was, maybe like a month long, something like that, maybe
Yeah.
longer, but it was split between the first half, A Day to Remember opened, and then we did like the second half, I think.
Okay.
So we were the opener, then it was, I believe, Strike Anywhere. Like that, they were like a punk
Yeah, I know.
kind of band. And then I don't know. I feel like there had to have been another band. One second, let me see. I feel like I have my laminate like right in a drawer over here. I want to see
Yeah.
because there has to have been another band on that tour. One second.
Yeah.
All right, let's see if it's in here. All right, Silverstein. Oh, cool. From Autumn to Ashes was on that
Oh,
tour.
okay.
And I grew up listening to them. They were
Yeah.
like one of the first hardcore bands I really liked.
Yeah.
So that was cool to get to tour with them.
Nice. Yeah. So, what? I guess in your time in the band, what was kind of the highlight or a big show or big tour that stands out to you as like kind of like the peak of you being a part of it?
Let's see. One of my favorite ones that we did was it was right after we had lost our first singer Johnny, and then we had gotten Kurt.
Yeah.
And I think it was the first tour with Kurt. We did Poison the Well, and that was another band I grew up listening
Yeah.
to. So that was really cool.
Yeah.
And then also the Locust was on that tour, and they
Oh
were
my
like
God.
one of those weird bands that I also kind of I don't want to say I grew up listening to them,
Right.
but I did listen to them a bit.
That was a whole tour. Those three
It was
bands.
so they were on half of it. It was like maybe a month long. They were on half of it, and then The Chariot took over, which was another
Wow.
cool band.
Yeah, that's a
that I
pretty good tour.
Yeah, I grew up listening to like the first Norma Jean album, which
Yeah.
the singer from the Chariot was on.
Sure.
So that was really cool to kind of switch off the Locust to the Chariot, and then also Poison the Well.
Damn. Yeah, those must have been some crazy shows.
Yeah, it was sick, and that was like our. I wonder. Let's see. No, because we had already done Silverstein at that point. We did Silverstein with Johnny, so we had already been on kind of a big tour. But that was we kind of like listened to those bands even more, and especially with the band like the Locust, they're kind of like infamous. So
Yeah.
that was really cool to get to tour with them. We were super stoked about that because
Yeah.
I never thought that would happen, especially
Yeah.
being kind of the band that we were.
That's crazy.
That was super cool.
I guess what I was just curious is like, I mean, like you said, that band has had a lot of in and out of members. Like,
Yeah.
being a part. I mean, how long were you in the band?
Pretty much almost about 3 years.
Okay, and is that, I guess, I don't know, being in a band that's kind of doing that? Do you even notice it when you're a part of it because it's just like it's happening and you're like already a machine that's off and running, or is it like every time you have to reset with someone, is that kind of weird or like takes takes some time?
It was pretty easy because I mean there was like I was the first member change. So I mean they kind of had already had like Sean wasn't even the first guitarist. They had
Okay.
had a dude before him, but that was a pretty short period of time when they were just like a local band, and then they got Sean. So they'd already had that, and then I took over for Sean, and then that lasted for a few months, and then Johnny parted ways with us, and we got Kurt, and so we did that lineup for a bit, and then we lost like 2 other members. So it was kind of just like I don't know. I think the one that like felt the worst at the time was probably after we had recorded our first album as this new lineup with Kurt and
Yeah.
me. The follow up to their first album.
Whoever said we had to stop this from happening? My blood shakes abruptly and you just to flee. This unstable setting. We're not lonely, surviving this
The screamer John Mess and then our bassist Eric, they both quit, and that was kind of like, all right, because we had already kind of like the Johnny thing was definitely like a huge thing.
Yeah.
Being, like the singer, and he was like a big element of the band. But at the time, just because of the way things were, we're like, all right, we're excited to just like keep going with this, start over,
Yeah.
start fresh. But then when that happened, that was kind of like a blow to trying to rebuild, I guess.
Right.
So that was definitely harder. But yeah, it was never. We always kind of had cool people, so it was never like a bad thing. You just kind of get used to it, I
Yeah.
guess. But yeah, it never really took too long. But we also tried to pick cool people who we got along with, and it was fun. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was never really just kind of something that happened.
And when I talked to Kurt, when we were talking about a little bit of that, like I think he said that the dates we did with you guys was like one of the first things that he was a part of, I think, or
Yeah, I'm
it
trying
was
to
very
think.
early on.
Was it? It was just us two, right?
Yeah, and it was just
Like-
like southeast, like some southern shows.
Yeah, I know we did Texas for sure because I
Yep.
remember. I think that might have been the first night where we played at like Emos, I think, but like in the indoor one or something. I don't know.
Yeah, yep.
And then we were in Austin, and that band Fair to Midland was like
Yeah.
the headliner.
Yeah, but Kurt and I talked about that. It was such a fucking weird, crazy night. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a super just weird show. But yeah, I don't even remember how that happened because that was such. It's hard to remember because it's like a tiny little
Right.
blip. It wasn't like a full tour, so it's like when did this happen?
Right. Exactly.
I know it was definitely early into us being the band, so it had to have been like we were coming home from something. I don't know if we were coming home from Poison the Well. Or
I think that's what Kurt said. It was in between, like it was routing to get you guys home. And I don't know if you listened to that Kurt one, but that night is actually the reason that he started smoking or picked smoking back up again and like smoked for like 10 years because there was like a party next door that Marlboro was hosting and they gave out free cigarettes. So
Oh yeah, I think I do remember that.
yeah.
I remember there was like some weird party. Yeah, they were just like handing out packs of cigarettes. It's like, all right, this is a weird party.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I'm looking at my Poison the Well laminate, and we ended in Florida, so that would make sense if we were coming back home,
Yeah.
going through Texas.
Yeah, because our first show with you guys, I think, was like Jacksonville at Jackrabbits, if that is a place that sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Because I remember that. Well, I don't remember it. There's a video on YouTube of us playing, so that kind of sparks my memory of like, okay, I think that was the first show, and since you ended in Florida, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah. Let's see. Do you know did we have a screamer at that point? Were there two singers on stage? Do you remember by any chance?
That's a good question. I don't know. I don't remember because I feel like I would have remembered there being two singers. And I thought it was just Kurt.
Let's see.
But it could have been.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I can barely even remember who was there at what point.
Right.
Because I was trying to think, because there was a video of us at Jackrabbits. I remember because.
Oh yeah. John was in the band because I remember we met John, and I think that video is from that tour where there's two on stage.
Oh yeah, because I remember you guys had like not like a super fan, but like
yeah.
I remember there was like a girl there who was like wearing like a Dr. Manhattan shirt that she might have homemade or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like it was like maybe a smaller show or something.
Yep.
So that was something I remembered. Like, oh, there's this girl who's super into this band. That's tight.
Yeah.
Because I think that night might have been when we had gotten an encore, but we didn't like have anything else to play besides a new song that wasn't even fully done. So we played like a brand new song that wasn't even fully finished. So like you can go back and like listen to the song and
nice.
Hear how like the vocals aren't fully done. They were still writing it at the time. So like John's vocals are different, Kurt's vocals are probably different. I'm kind of curious what it even sounds like now. I haven't heard it in years, but I remember that the song wasn't done and we're like, this is the only song we have left to play. Like it's not really done. So that was like the first time we had ever played a new song, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay, so we probably did Florida and then I don't know, maybe like New Orleans or something, or maybe we drove through to Texas. All right, because I know we also played with you again, but I think it was just one show, but it was like a two shows in one venue at White Rabbit.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Asked you again.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, because I remember that. So yeah, so I guess you only did those few dates.
Yeah, there wasn't many, but since those things all happened, I just glom them together, and I'm like, oh, was that all the same tour? Was that separate times? Yeah. Yeah, I remember that. Well, I guess, just being a part of a band that like is kind of famously known for just having all this like in and out members and like drama around it. Like when you're in the band for those few years, and there is that, like, I mean, changing out guitar play, and this isn't to say singers are more important, but it's definitely more noticeable, at least depending stylistically. So like, and you lose or Johnny leaves or quit. I don't know the story, but so he's out of the band, and you get a new singer. People are gonna notice because like,
for sure.
That's a bigger deal. So like, I don't know how much drama you personally run into, or are you seeing at shows? Are people like making a huge stink about it, or is it just like, again, just the band's kind of known for picking up the pieces and moving on? People just kind of like, all right, screw it. Let's meet the next guy.
It was probably more of like an online thing that you notice more, because most people aren't gonna. It's easier to be that way online than it is like in person, to go up and be like, oh man, that was terrible. I hate this. Where's your old singer? That kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So it's definitely more of like an online thing, but
do you think all that kind of craziness like almost helped the band, like just getting more people in like investigating and being like, what's going on? Like, I don't know, is that like another side of the band that got more people into it, or is it just like bullshit that you guys had to kind of deal with?
Probably both. It's hard to really say. Because like, I'm curious how it would have went if Johnny was still in the band, but I don't even think that was like a possibility really.
Yeah.
Because we just couldn't like deal with it. But like who knows how that would have went if we did a second album with him, and
Right.
or even if they did a second album with the original guitarist too. Like it would be interesting how that would have sounded.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, it's definitely attention, but I don't know if it's necessarily like good attention.
Right.
But
Well, PR is
Yeah.
PR, they say. So any eyes on the
Yeah.
And when we did Warped Tour, we split a bus with Bring Me the Horizon as their
Really?
like first kind of foray into the country. Like I don't know if they had already toured, but that was their first like big like splash. I mean, I remember we at first were making more money than them because I don't think Kevin Lyman really knew what
Yeah.
was happening, and then all of a sudden they were just like the top 3 drawing band every day for the rest of the tour. So, but I do remember that was a band that like a lot of people talked about them just because they had all these like stories about them as people. So like that was
Yeah.
the first kind of for us experience of being like, oh, there's like a whole other non-music thing that you can have to your band that gets people into your band. So I was just curious for like you guys, like, yeah, if that played into it or if it was just kind of like, you know, static noise in the background of what was going on.
yeah, I don't know, it's kind of it's hard to say when you're in the band because you
Sure.
don't really know like
Yeah.
how people feel about you or how big you are, any of that stuff. Because like your friends or fans would be like, "Oh, you guys are so big," and you're like, "It doesn't feel like that. We're
Right.
just
Yeah.
just doing it." So it's hard to really know like what because like, I don't know when like being in the band, I assume, and rightfully so, that the majority of people on Earth have no idea what it is. So
Right.
like if I'm with a friend and they're like, "Oh yeah, he used to do this," and it's like they don't know what this is. Like,
Yeah.
don't bring that up. And then you just look like a dork. They're like, yeah, I don't know what that is."
Yeah. It's just that I just being in a band where there is just kind of always moving pieces and stuff like that. It's just interesting to me because I mean we had a totally different experience, not better or worse, but like just the same dudes. So thinking of being like resetting or learning stuff or adding, well, that's not true because I left and then they had new drummers, so that's not, I got to scratch that completely. But you being in the band for 3 years and then you getting out of the band, I mean, again, I don't know how much you want to talk about it, but like,
That's fine.
How does that all go? Is it just like you've kind of had enough of all of it, or was it on the other end, or?
It was more on the other end,
Okay.
but just like me and one person just kind of weren't getting along towards the end.
Okay.
But everything's super cool now. We're really good friends.
Good.
But yeah, it was just kind of that kind of a thing. Just a lot of like little things. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Hey, man, you say as much or as little as you want to say. I was actually watching the video that we shot some of on the tour with you guys. The video we made about our tour manager at the time, Reed, the art of tour managing, and you and Matt, the drummer.
Yeah.
I think you both were in it for a second, and I forgot.
Yeah, I saw that.
I forgot about it, and I was just laughing at. It's like, oh shit, man, that's because that was on that tour too. I think it was just like outside one of the venues, and there was some like homeless guy out there yelling shit, and we just started filming him too. So it was just
that was at the White Rabbit. That was when we went on tour together. We had just done that show together.
Yeah,
you guys were in one of the other rooms, and I only know that because you had some other people that I remember were on tour with you. I think.
Yeah.
I forget the other bands. I don't know if it was that Dynamo's band or if it was Gay
Oh,
Blades.
Gay Blades.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I remember them. Because I remember we had actually after that show. Let's see where that was. Or maybe I'm thinking of a different one where I know me and at least one or two other people from Dance Gavin Dance had gone to your guys' hotel room somewhere, but I feel like that was in Austin or something. But we weren't on tour because you were on tour with the Gay Blades at the time.
Yeah.
I remember we had like gone to your hotel, and I remember Matt was your singer, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
He was like playing acoustic guitar, and he was playing some song that I wish you guys had ended up recording. It kind of turned into another song.
Yeah.
But I only remember it because there was a really funny line in it. It was like, "No, I'm not high. Please stop asking."
Yeah.
Because he always looked like he was high. So
yeah. Well, that song ended up being called "I'm High," and that was actually a lot of the shit that we would get, all of us, like Matt too, but like all like constantly people like, all right, what drugs are you on? We're like, what?
Yeah.
But that when I talked to Casey about it, that was one of the songs that on Jam Dreams was actually this like more fully fleshed out, like I think it ended up being like 2.5 minutes, but it was like a 4 to 5 minute long song. And in retrospect, wish I would have like kind of fought for it more, because the whole album kind of was cut down and brought to like the very bare bones of each song. And that was one that I listened back to. I'm like, oh man, the longer version kind of like felt better.
That line didn't even make it into the song, I don't think.
Yeah, so I'm trying to remember. If it did, it's only one time, because there was like more verses and choruses, and I think that might have been one of the ones that was cut. But
yeah,
I'm not high. Stop asking.
I'm pretty
me.
sure because I remember like wanting to hear that line, and I was like, oh, it didn't make it into the song.
Yeah, that was when we recorded with Chris, and he was just kind of like chopping everything down to like the bare bones of it. So. But yeah, it's just funny to me when I think of, you know, the different bands we tour with, and we didn't do, and you know, comparing to like you guys or other bands, we didn't do nearly as many tours, but like just the different kinds of bands we tour with. If I would have thought of, you know, now touring with you guys, I would have been like, how would that have even happened?
Yeah,
I don't even remember how it happened, to be honest. So it's just crazy. Like,
I
knew that happened.
No idea. It's probably just like, hey, here's this weird band. I think our people like behind the scenes kind of knew that we were into weird stuff, and we didn't really like a lot of the stuff we toured with. So they're probably like, oh, they might like these weirdos. So
I think I think it was either you or Will or somebody said that you liked us, and then it got passed, you know, through the ranks, and then I think it was like, I think we drove from Illinois to Florida because it was like, oh well, here's these dates, you guys can go play them, but you got to get your asses down there. So I think we just road tripped down there to do those shows, and I don't even know if what we did to come back, probably just the same thing, just booked our own shows. But yeah, I some weird memory about that tour was like we really got into Queen that tour. So like on the way down, we were just listening to like the greatest hits like the entire way, and just like on repeat, no other music, and we were just like loving it so much. But so after you leave Dance Gavin Dance, or you know, the mutual breakup, what happens in between? Because I do remember you kind of did some other music projects. I don't know if there's time off in between. How's that all kind of shake?
So at the time, towards the end of that, I was already kind of working on like my own solo stuff, just like really terribly recorded, bad, like kind of indie-ish. I don't know. It was just really bad. Like my first kind of attempt at getting into recording. Yeah. So it was pretty bad, but some of the stuff was okay. So I was already kind of doing that. So I did that for a while, just recorded a bunch of my own stuff. And then I was doing like acoustic shows, playing some of that material. Let's see. So that was 2010. So for pretty much all of 2010, I was kind of just like working on my own solo stuff. And then probably towards the end of that, I started playing like acoustic shows because like, well, I want to start playing again.
Yeah.
So like I had done an open mic, played a couple songs, and I'm like, well, I want to try to do like a show. So I'd like hop on with a couple friends' bands because I had some friends in local bands, and then I ended up playing a show. I think I did a show with my drummer and bassist old band. Something like that, or like my current drummer, was just at the show, but I feel like he played or something.
Yeah.
This was a long time ago, for like 2011, so 5 years ago. But it was something like that. And then he had like hit me up, like, "Hey, like you're back in town, let's jam," because he lived down the street from me, and we were never like really close or friends or anything, just kind of like acquaintances. We knew each other, but we knew each other for like years. Probably since like junior high school or something.
Oh, wow, okay.
But we were just never like that close. We had a lot of mutual friends and stuff. We played in local bands together, or not together, but you know, we each had our own local bands and stuff. So he hit me up as like, hey, I do drums. Let's jam. So in 2011, probably early 2011, we started jamming, and then literally wrote like the Strawberry Girls, the very first EP we did in like a week or so, and
Oh, nice.
recorded it. Yeah. So
So it's-
there's only like so out of DGD 2010, did my solo stuff, and then 2011. So only about a year break
Oh,
of
okay.
not really being in a band.
So where did Good Health factor in?
That was the solo thing.
Okay, gotcha.
During 2010.
And do you? Because I know every now and then I've seen you post things about making beats and stuff. Like, has that always
Yeah.
just been a thing, or did that start kind of around that time too?
That started. Let's see. I was starting to make beats towards the end of DGD, so like the end of 2009. But I had like no idea what I was doing.
Yeah.
And then got a little more into it 2010. Still didn't really know what I was doing. Now it's like 2016, and I'm still kind of figuring it out a little bit.
What programs or what do you like to make them in or use?
I use GarageBand, but I
Oh,
use
nice.
a lot of other plugins and stuff.
Okay.
I just use GarageBand because I know how to use it.
Yeah.
I've tried to get into like Logic and other things, but it's just like a huge learning curve to where I'll be
Sure.
like something I'm trying to figure out for 15 minutes I could do in 1 second in GarageBand.
Right, exactly. Sure.
So, yeah, there's a lot of like editing benefits to other things, but I have so much stuff that I can already do
Yeah.
in GarageBand to where like I can make stuff in GarageBand and send it to someone who does production, and they'll be like, "Oh, what'd you use?" And I'll say GarageBand. They'll be like, "What? I didn't know
Yeah.
you could do this in GarageBand." Because most people don't really use it. They'll use it at like for a couple months at the
Yeah.
very beginning of messing around with something, but they never actually try to get into it. And it's just like it's just a platform to make stuff like anything else. So
Yeah.
as long as you kind of know how to know a little bit about mastering and mixing, you can kind of make anything sound pretty decent.
Yeah, I've heard some really good stuff out of GarageBand. So it's I think it's just like anything else. If you mess around it long enough, you can really really put out good stuff with it.
Yeah, definitely.
So cool. And so Strawberry Girls has been going for like 5 years now then.
Yeah, I think pretty much. Yeah, this is like our 5-year anniversary. I think it was like April. I think April when we put out our first EP or something like that, or when we first started jamming.
Yeah.
I think something like that. Like April, we started the band. It might have been before that. I forget. I don't know if that was when we first released our EP or I don't know. But it's been about 5 years. It's like our 5-year anniversary of being a band. So we kind of want to do like a show where we just play our first EP all the way through because we haven't played like most of those songs in years.
Oh, nice.
So we actually want to re-record it for fun
Cool.
because that was like if you want to get a comparison of how much better our drummer's gotten at recording, go listen to our first EP and then listen to our new album.
Yeah.
It's like night and day.
Yeah.
But we still like the songs off the EP, so it'd be fun. And it'd be like a quick, we could do it in like a month or less.
Right.
Of just kind of putting that out and do like a little 5-year anniversary thing. And I think it would just be fun to kind of hear those songs reimagined to sound
Yeah.
a lot better. And it'd be easier than like, because our next new music is going to be, it's going to be a while. So
Right.
it'd be fun just to put something out to kind of, have out there and
Yeah.
be easy while we write and do our next album, which will be at least like a year or something like that. So
Okay. And I guess aside from just being older and the bands being stylistically different, like, do you see any other big differences between being in this band and being in previous bands or being in Dance Gavin Dance? Or is it all just like, it's just a different chapter, a totally different kind of feel and vibe? Because are you the main kind of songwriter in Strawberry Girls, or do you all collaborate pretty evenly?
we all collaborate. We try to write everything together.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't really there'll be like a song or two that, like over the history of like our 3 albums that like I brought to the table, like, hey, here's this thing I already have.
Yeah.
But I try not to, just because I like the difference of being able to write with a live drummer.
Yeah.
Because like trying to program crazy drums and stuff is a lot harder than like just being able to be like, all right, here now, like,
Yeah.
let's just do something crazy or some change here. So I like being able to kind of write as a band. But like for the most part, I write all the guitar stuff. But everyone in the band kind of plays all instruments, sort of. So like our drummer's also a really good guitarist and bassist, so he'll throw out ideas and stuff. And then our bassist, he'll throw out ideas for things because he's also like a really good pianist too. So
Oh, okay.
we all kind of have a musical background and kind of exchange ideas. But for the most part, we kind of stick to our instruments, and just kind of write from there. But
Yeah.
yeah, everything kind of just comes from jamming. We'll like have a riff. We try to record everything we write, just like on our iPhones and stuff, so
Yeah.
that we don't forget. Otherwise, like we wouldn't remember anything. Like even 10 minutes later, it's like, wait, what were we just playing?
Exact. Oh yeah. Yeah.
We have like 3 hours of just like random riffs and stuff. We always try, like pretty much every time we practice, it's always like, all right, we need to start practicing now. We're just jamming because it's fun to just kind of vibe and stuff. So
Yeah.
um, yeah, so we have tons of stuff that we kind of write, but yeah.
So do you see any kind of advantages or feel that there's any positive things to being in a band that doesn't have a singer, or like just has less people? It's less to deal with, or is it just like you don't even really notice the difference? It just works differently.
Yeah, it's easier. I mean, that's part of the reason why we are the way we are.
Yeah.
Why we've kept it so small is just because it's easier. It's less people to deal with, especially as you get older. It's a lot harder to find people who can, like, who have the time to
Right.
put into something like this. So, and then like the whole singer thing, it started out as like it was like a mix of two things. One being that there really wasn't anyone around that was like, all right, like we didn't want to settle for something. We didn't want to have a singer just to have a singer.
Yeah.
If we were going to get a singer, they would have to like really fit our music. They'd have to have a good personality. They'd have to have the time to put into the band. They would have to have like a good stage presence,
Yeah.
lyrics, all these different things that can kind of push a band in a certain direction. We're like, well, it's like a lot of different things that's going to be pretty much impossible to find.
Right.
So let's just see what happens if we just do this instrumental and try to do it differently than a lot of instrumental bands. Because at the time, like all we really knew of like instrumental music was more of like the pretty post rock,
Yeah.
epic kind of stuff. So we're like, well, what if we kind of present it as like a normal band, like a louder rock band with energy and stuff, but just don't have the singer. And then another thing was also like starting out as a local band. We had no idea if we were ever going to get any bigger than a local band. So we're like, we're probably going to be playing with a bunch of like really terrible PA systems to where
Oh, yeah.
even if you had a singer, you're not even going to be able to
Yeah.
hear it. There's going to be so many problems. So it's like, let's try to be a band that can play anytime, anywhere. We don't have to deal or worry about any of these other little things that I've had to worry about in the past, being in certain bands. So it's kind of all just like a reaction to what I've experienced and being like, all right, how can I make this as easy as possible, but also being different and cool? So it's kind of like a little experiment.
Yeah. Well, that's cool, man. Because I sure as shit know that like you at least once a tour, if not once a show, however often, I'm sure you're getting people coming up to you and being like, dude, you got to get a singer.
Yeah, it definitely happens, especially after Kurt and a lot like Bird split. Everyone's just like, oh, so you guys gonna get Kurt? Blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, okay, let's think about this logically. So
Yeah.
if we got Kurt, we have 2.5 albums worth of music. That are we just not going to play that anymore?
Right.
Is he just going to sit on the side of the stage? Is
Yeah.
he going to write vocals over these songs? Like what? And then we're just not going to record those.
Yeah.
Like logistically, it doesn't really make sense. So, and then like anytime we want to tour from here on out, he's going to have to be available. Like all these little
Yeah.
things. It's like, we would be super down, and we've already talked about it, doing like an EP with him, and it would just be like Kurt and Strawberry Girls, but it wouldn't just be like
Right.
a full-time thing. It would, because we want to do that with a lot of different singers too if we could.
Yeah.
Any of like our friends that want to collaborate, we're just into writing music. That's just what we like to do. It's not like a thing where it's like, all right, we got to be this way.
Yeah.
We just really like to collaborate with people and make music, and it's cool being an instrumental band because you kind of have the option to do that, where like
Yeah.
if I was in a band with a singer, you can't be like, oh yeah, let's do an album with this singer. Let's do an album with this singer. It's
Hey, I'm on
Yeah.
the singer.
hard.
Yeah.
So yeah, we really want to get into being like a collaborative thing, and just working with other people, vocalists and stuff, while also doing our own instrumental albums.
Yeah.
So just it's kind of like a weird creative thing where we just like making music.
Well, that's cool too, because I think that mindset opens you guys up to, I mean, branching out to other fan bases. I mean, if you're teaming up with people from other, genres or other kinds
Yeah.
of music, like, yeah, that's a whole new fan base that wouldn't have known about you guys that you can bring in. So I think that's a cool idea.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully this year, um, we can do something like that.
Yeah.
We're just going to be writing a bunch and then see what happens. But yeah, we have a handful of like friends in bands and stuff that we've talked to maybe potentially do something. So we'll see what
Cool.
happens.
And do you think just because there's the connection of you and Kurt, people just are going to always assume, like, if there's an open slot, like, oh, you guys, right? You're going to do it, right? Like, just that's how the fans kind of think, or
Pretty much. I mean, I don't know if they even realize that we don't live in the same city.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I mean, that could be part of it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people just assume that I live in Sacramento just
Yeah.
because of DGD, but we're like 3 hours from Sacramento,
Oh,
so
okay,
um, it wouldn't be a very easy thing.
yeah,
So yeah, I think that might have been something I just haven't even considered, that they just don't even realize that
right,
we're not living down the street from each other.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, because I mean that's a big part of it too. Is just not having. I mean, living out of town, it's hard to put something together.
yeah, yeah,
Um, but yeah, I don't know. People keep saying that, and it's just like, I mean, to me, the biggest thing is what do we do with all of our
yeah.
music
The
that's
whole
already
catalog,
written? Like, it's not like there's vocals on that he could sing.
right?
It would just be like this weird thing. I mean, we have 2 songs with Kurt. We can do those 2 songs.
Yeah, there you go.
Do some 2-song sets and see how you like it.
Yeah, yeah. I think people are just nostalgic, and any
Yeah.
connection to original band lineups or reunions, anything is like, oh man, come on, like,
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, we'd like to. Hopefully, we'll make it happen this year, especially since Kurt's going to have some more free time. Well, actually, he's going to be kind of busy because he's got a couple tours coming up.
Nice.
He's going to be like in Europe for a while.
oh wow,
I think his next 2 tours are like European tours, so that'll
That's
be
crazy.
he'll be a little busy with that. It's cool that he's getting these opportunities with the solo stuff.
yeah,
But yeah, hopefully we can do something with Strawberry Girls and Kurt, like an EP or something. But it's definitely something we really want to do.
nice.
I think people would be stoked on that.
Yeah. And being in an instrumental band, being like kind of like you said, you've got to open possibilities to team up with anybody and do as you please. Like, is that something you guys have kind of just realized now, or did you envision that like early on, like, oh shit, like this kind of opens up any possibilities to what we want to do?
It's definitely kind of a later thing, probably. I mean, we've kind of always. Let's see. I don't know, because Kurt did a song with us on our first full length,
Yeah.
so that was already kind of a thing. I'm trying to think if we had any other, and then we also did a song with Nick Newsham.
Yeah.
So we had like those 2 songs where the whole song had vocals, and they were kind of different than our usual style. They were kind of more like verse chorus kind of a thing than
Yeah.
like just crazy jamming and stuff. I mean, we've always kind of had the idea of like wanting to collaborate with singers and rappers, stuff like that. We'd like to do like a rap project, some kind of hip hop.
I feel like that's just bringing your worlds together, man. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's just waiting to happen.
Yeah, that would be fun. We have like a couple people in mind. Just one rapper like hit us up wanting to collaborate, but he hasn't hit us up again. So I don't know what's going on with that, but
Okay.
hopefully that'll happen. Nothing like crazy big, but like definitely someone that some people know. But
Yeah.
that would be fun to do. Look forward to doing that. And I guess
Yeah.
he was just like a fan of the band or something. Because
Nice.
he had tweeted us once. I don't know how he heard us, but he had like a little radio show or podcast thing. I don't know. I don't know if he just makes Spotify playlists. I think he has some kind of radio show or something. But he's like, Strawberry Girls on my radio show today. And we're like, what? That's weird. You're like a rapper. But yeah, so we'll see if
Yeah.
anything happens with that. But yeah, we just want to collaborate with people and just see what kind of happens.
Nice. So being the avid music enthusiast you are, I mean, I feel like every day or every other day you're putting up a playlist you made, and like you're constantly just hustling, like working
Yeah.
all these things out. Like, what are you listening to now that's kind of getting you going? Like, it doesn't need to be genre specific, or
Yeah. It's hard to say because like every day I'm like, all right, I try to go for like walks every day where I can just like focus on listening to music. I'm not distracted by anything else.
Yeah.
I'll like go get coffee or something, and then just kind of use that as my time to kind of like listen to new stuff and take stuff in. But
Well, you and Nick Newsham, I kind of look towards in my friend group as people who know a lot more about hip hop than I do. So I guess where I'm leading this question is, what do you think about the new Chance the Rapper album?
I think it's okay.
Yeah,
I really liked his previous album.
yeah, Acid Rap.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. I feel like this one is there's some cool stuff, but I feel like a lot of it's kind of just I don't want to say boring, but kind of
Yeah.
boring.
Yeah,
Not I like the more, I mean, not even necessarily the more energetic stuff, but
yeah, I agree.
kind of energetic. There's just a lot of like slow stuff and at least some mid tempo.
Yeah,
I'd like.
yeah. No, that's kind of exactly the sentiment that I had. Like, kind of, and I saw tons of reviews being like, "This album of the year already." And I was like, "Damn, did I miss something?" Like, it's good, but like,
Yeah.
but yeah, it feels a little more laid back, and I was kind of expecting the more like, yeah, like up tempo stuff you can dance to. Like, he's a good dancer, so I was
Yeah.
expecting a lot of that kind of energy.
Yeah, I definitely was a little bummed about that. And
Yeah.
actually, I saw him at Coachella a couple years ago,
Oh, nice.
and I was very disappointed in his set because not only was it, and this is no fault of his own,
Yeah.
like the hottest
Oh,
set
God.
of the day. Like it was like probably early afternoon, the sun just beating down on you.
Yeah.
It was the worst heat I've ever experienced in my life. But on top of that, he comes out midday, early afternoon, and proceeds to do like a set full of like slow jams,
Okay.
which I could understand maybe if it was like nighttime, that might
Yeah.
be cool. But like literally, this is like the first set of the day,
Yeah.
or like the first. I mean, like it was. There's probably already people playing, but it was just maybe like between 1 and 3. So this is like the first like big set people are like
Yeah.
coming out to, and like they're starting their day of Coachella, and he
Yeah.
comes out just opens with the slow jam, and it's like okay, maybe he'll do something fast next, or you know,
Yeah.
something with energy. All right, here's the second slow jam. Here's the third one. Like, when is this? Is he gonna play anything with
Yeah.
like a beat? It's all
Yeah.
just like really slow stuff. It's like, why are you? These are the songs I skip over on your
Yeah.
album. dude.
Yeah.
But,
So.
yeah, I don't know. And that's what the new album kind of is to me.
So what? Yeah, what? I guess Chance aside, what are there any albums new or not new that just you've been listening to, or like stuff that gets you like you said, Acid Rap gets you like, okay, this is something I can put on and I
Yeah.
can get into. Is there anything that's kind of doing that for you?
I really liked the album that Kanye did, The Life of Pablo. I like that one.
I really like it, and as many reviews as I've seen, kind of be half and half on it. I'm like,
Yeah.
man, maybe that's kind of the point. Is Chance, I saw a lot of high reviews and listened
Yeah.
to it. Kanye, I saw like, oh, I don't know, this is a sad album. And I listened, I'm like, this is fucking good. Like,
Yeah.
I kind of the same exact sentiment.
Like, I do kind of wish he tied up some of the weird little loose ends on the album.
yeah,
Like, where it sounds like he was just kind of like writing a part and didn't finish it.
yeah,
I don't know why. I don't know what the deal is with that. Can't understand why whoever was recording him wasn't like, "Hey, you want to finish this part? You're gonna
no one's
put the
telling
album
Kanye anything. There's like, yep, good, perfect, next.
like, hey, you never finished this part. You just have a little vocal noodle right here. You never figure out that word. You just
Yeah.
kind of sang a noise." But I kind of wish that way it would be more. I don't know. I wish it didn't feel as much like unfinished,
Yeah,
because I feel like the beats and a lot of the stuff like are really great. To
Yeah.
where if he really like made everything perfect, it would have been cool.
Yeah.
Or would have been even better. But I still really like it.
Yeah.
It's definitely one of my top releases. And then I'm a little underwhelmed by Drake's album, which I was really looking forward to, but I'm still that kind of happens to me with at least his last few albums, where I'll
Yeah.
be like, I don't know how I feel about it, and then like I'll listen to it a lot more, and then it'll grow on me, and I'll be like, oh, this is his best album. That's like his last album was like that with me. I was just kind of like, this is like weird. Just sounds like a bunch of throwaway songs, and now it's like, oh, this is the best stuff he's ever written.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes. There's definitely, I mean, there's just the problem is there's so many songs. There's like 20 something songs on his
okay.
new album. So I mean, if he cut out like 10 of them, it would probably be like a crazy album. But,
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I just gotta kind of probably listen to it some more. But there's definitely a lot of good stuff. But like I said, it's so long, it's hard to take in.
Yeah. So it's
But
mostly what you end up listening to. Is it hip hop or is it kind of all over?
well, lately it's been a little different, but that's probably because I've been preparing for that emo night thing
Oh
tomorrow.
yeah, that's
So
true.
I've been listening to a lot of older stuff, trying to get like a engineer a really good playlist of stuff that I feel like hopefully everyone would know that's
Yeah,
there. That's kind of my goal. Is like, all right, what are the like the my favorite songs and the bigger songs of these bands that people might know. Um, so I yeah, listen to a lot of older stuff like that, a lot of older like pop punk emo kind of stuff,
yeah,
and but yeah, a lot of the time it's a lot of like hip hop stuff, but it just kind of depends on how I'm feeling. It changes a lot, but
sure.
yeah, I go through phases of stuff.
Nice. Well, cool, man. I've had you for like an hour. I was just thinking of if you got any good like random tour stories or anything you want to, any other stuff you want to talk about that, any other good little tidbits. I kind of covered everything I wanted to ask you.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like can't really think of any. People are always like, "Oh, what's like a tour story?" It's like I
Yeah.
don't know. We showed up to the venue, we sound checked, played, went to
Well,
bed.
did you guys did you guys ever like when I interviewed Nick, he talked about they fucking flipped a van and almost all died. Like do you have any crazy shit? Anyone try to break in the vans? Any goofy shit like that?
Um, no, thankfully not.
Yeah,
There was one towards the end of the tour. We were kind of on our way back. I was driving, and it was like kind of like this weird back road type of thing.
yeah,
It was during the day, but it got a little windy. But usually, and there even were some signs, but not for this particular turn. But there'll be like a sign where it's like it's going to curve, so
yeah,
slow down. Um, but either I didn't see that sign, or from what I remember, it wasn't there. There was
yeah.
no sign that's like, hey, there's about to be a really crazy curve. So I thought it was just going to be a slight curve. So I was going. It was like a back road. I'm not going crazy fast, but like
Yeah,
maybe like 65 or something.
yeah,
But there ended up being this curve, but it ended up being a really like wide one or something to really tight to where it's like, whoa, I have to like slam on the brakes and
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
a little bit. Um, that was probably like the scariest thing. Aside from on the DGD tour a few months ago, it was kind of like the end of winter, so a lot of
Oh
places were
shit.
still like really snowy, and we
Yeah.
actually had to cancel a show because of the snow in like Kansas. So we got trapped in Kansas for a bit because all the roads were closed, and we ended up like somehow finding this weird alternative route that wasn't really plowed. So we're like, it's like 1 in the morning, and we're trying to drive to wherever the next show is. I don't even remember, probably Chicago or something. And
Yeah.
then, so we were coming from, we were in Colorado. We were supposed to play in Kansas, but that show got canceled. So we're driving through Kansas to probably Chicago or something like that. And
Yeah.
it was just crazy snow. So we're driving super, super slow. Just like, all right, I hope we make it through this. Like,
Yeah.
what if our van dies and we're just
Oh
here, there's
god.
no one else around?
Yeah.
That was definitely super scary just because the conditions were crazy.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that was probably the scariest
Yeah.
thing that's happened on tour. Just because you have no idea what's going to happen. If you get caught out there and you're just stuck.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was definitely a pretty crazy, but luckily nothing too bad, nothing
Oh,
really
good.
stumbling.
Well, good. That's a good thing. We
Yeah.
did a couple of those. We had some tours that would end in California, and we'd drive home, and it was like a 30-hour drive. And whenever we drive through Utah, it was like always, or like some like it was like Montana, these mountain passes of like if it was like snowing a little bit anywhere else, it was like fucking avalanche snow there, and you can't
Yeah.
see in front of the car. And we're all like white knuckling it and sliding around. We're like, oh, we're dying. We're going to die today. Okay.
Yeah, that happened on. I did a tour with Kurt, just a solo tour, and I don't know where we were driving through, but we were in a little car because it was just like me, him, and his wife. And anytime a semi truck would pass us, it would just blow
Oh,
tons
God.
of snow. So we'd be blind for like 15 seconds just driving. And it would just keep happening, and we're like, okay, this isn't cool. We can't see for 15 minutes or for
Yeah.
15 seconds, and it's really snowy. We're literally just driving. Like, I hope there's not a car in front of us stopped. Like,
Yeah. Jesus.
that was definitely the other very, very scary part because it just kept happening. Like,
Yeah.
and there's nothing like I don't know if they know they're doing it. They can't do anything. It's not like they can just stop. But so anytime a semi would drive by, it would just completely blind us for 15, 20 seconds. It was crazy.
Yeah, any tours that we got that were in winter, we were always like, fuck. Like,
Yeah.
I think the only tour we ever turned down was around Christmas, and it was the Number 12 Looks Like You. Asked us to come and open for them. We're like, what? This is like a crazy metal band. Like, what do they want us to come? And no one's gonna like us. But it also just happened to be around Christmas, and we had to like go to New York, and I was like, that's. I don't think anything about that's gonna end well. Like,
Yeah, we're like all bands kind of say that though. They're always like, "Oh, we're never doing a winter tour," and then it's like,
and then you just do it.
we got this really good tour we can't turn down.
Exactly. That's how it goes.
Yeah, that's the terrible part. It's like, stop booking those tours. Big bands, you're really doing.
Yeah.
You're hurting these bands.
Yeah, you're putting the small bands through the ringer. You're like, we don't have snow chains or any of this shit. Like, we're going to die.
Yeah.
Well, good, man. Thanks for giving me a good little hour of your time today. It's been a long time coming, and
Yes.
I appreciate you giving me the time. And I'll always fondly look back on my time with you as being encapsulated as your guys' pressed photo and you wearing the Dr. Manhattan shirt. One of the weirder fucking shirts we did too. So I was like, it's so good.
Yeah, that shirt's weird. I have it somewhere around here. I think it's
Nice.
like in my closet. But the dude who took that photo is like a really big photographer kind of now.
Oh, nice.
He shoots. I mean, he goes on tour with like A Day to Remember and All Time Low, all those kind of like pop punk bands. But
Adam Elmakas?
Yeah.
He
took that photo
when we did the Bring Me the Horizon thing, the Warped Tour. He was like in the bus with us some of the time, so we met him there. And yeah, that's too good.
Yeah, that was way back in the day before he. I mean, that was probably around the same time back when he wasn't like super established. I think he was on tour with like our friends in Four Letter Lie or something.
Yeah.
That might have even been. I don't know where he's from. If that was like a homie thing where he's like, all right, I do photos. Like I want to come out on the road. I have no idea how big he was at the time, but I think he was still pretty small, and he just kept taking tours and got bigger. And yeah, now he's doing these huge tours and putting out his own shirts and photo books and stuff. So that's cool.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy how some of these people you're just like, you pass, you're like, oh, let's see if I see him again. All of a sudden it's like, oh, you're fucking huge.
Yeah. We have this one friend who originally he was just like a fan who would come out to our shows, and then he took pictures a little bit. But he ended up getting into the touring side of things. I think he originally started touring just trying to do photos and stuff, but then he got into doing merch. We'd even taken him out to do merch for a tour.
Yeah.
And then so he goes from that, literally just being like this fan, friend, kind of photographer a little bit, to freaking tour managing Diplo.
What? How in the hell?
Yeah, so well he tour managed Of Mice and Men for a while.
Yeah.
He was homies with those guys. So he went from us, and then he kind of went around a little bit, and then ended up tour managing Of Mice and Men. And then after that, he literally just randomly submitted for Major Lazer, which is one of Diplo's projects.
Yeah.
And then he hit me up one day, like a few years ago, and was like, hey, I just submitted for this random electronic group, Major Lazer, and I was a big fan of them at the time.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? Like, I don't even think he really knew who they were.
Yeah.
Because he was like, oh, yeah, I think he said something like that. Like, I'm not, like, super knowledgeable of who this is. This isn't really my scene. He was kind of more into metal stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he tells me that, and I'm like, what? Dude, get me into a show if you're ever around here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he ends up getting me into this huge festival in San Francisco, and
Nice.
you get to meet those dudes and stuff, and then he worked with them for another, like, year or two, when he was going all around the world. Because Diplo, like, being a electronic artist, you're constantly flying, like, you're in America, then the next day you're in like Spain, then you're in Africa. Like, he's literally been to like every continent.
Wow.
And it would be like a daily thing, just flying to another country. And eventually he just got kind of burnt out on it. Cause I mean, Diplo would do like multiple shows a day because all he has to do is like set up a little like DJ thing. So it's a lot easier to be able to just play all these random places. constantly. So yeah, they're doing like 3 shows a day sometimes,
Damn.
like different countries. So he's just like, dude, I just got tired of touring. It was just a lot of work.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's crazy that he went from like just being a fan of us, coming out to some little show on like one of our first tours, to freaking tour managing Diplo in a few years.
So that just goes to show you, kids, you know, go out there, do good work, and you'll be tour managing Diplo in a few years.
I think he got to meet Justin Bieber, which is probably everyone's dream.
Hell yeah.
Very jealous.
Well, I think you should start tour managing Dance Gavin Dance now and see where it brings you.
Yeah, that's sweet. Yeah, maybe I'll get to tour manage Bieber or something. That'd be sweet.
Thanks, man. Thanks for giving me a little of your time today, man. It's good good catching up with you. Good getting a little history.
Yeah, thank you. I'm stoked that you came out to that show because I didn't think you were going to make it.
Yeah, I didn't think I was either, actually. I actually came down to, like, trying to find a sitter and stuff, and I was like, oh, shit, I'm going to... Because I think 1 or 2 other times you came through and I had to dip out, and I was like, I have to do this again. And sure enough, I was like, I'm just going. We're figuring it out. And I'm glad it worked out because that was such a good show.
Yeah, I don't even think you told me you were coming at the time. I think you just texted me when you were there.
Yep.
I was like, what? You're here? Where are you? Yeah, I like when stuff like that happens.
Yeah. Well, let's hope in 3 more times that you come to Chicago, I can come to at least one of them.
Yeah, hopefully.
Well, thanks, man. Thanks again, man, for giving me some
thank
time
you.
today. And good luck with everything. Hope all the new writing goes well. And yeah, I can't wait to hear some shit.
Awesome. Thank you very much, man.
All right, buddy. Take care of yourself. Good luck with the emo night show.
Oh, yeah. That should be interesting. Making my DJ debut.
Yeah. Hope you get like a sweet, like overly photoshopped like DJ picture of you with like stars and colors and lights and
Ooh.
shit.
I'll make sure.
All right, man. Take care of yourself.
Later.
Let's see you, bud.